Riots are erupting almost all across the UK, with the fresh ones in Liverpool at the time of recording of this video. But why is everyone acting so surprised? It's not like people like us haven't been warning about this for well over a decade. Instead of listening to simple logic, people in power still think that they can get away with the negligence by labeling and demonizing vast segments of society as far-right thugs.
This was a meeting to pull together our response both to the immediate challenge, which is clearly driven by far-right hatred, but also all violent disorder that flares up, whatever the apparent cause or motivation. I will take every step that's necessary to keep you safe. And that's why I said what I said about mosques being attacked because they're mosques. The far right is showing who they are. We have to show who we are in response to that.
In a moment of extreme division, you need a leader who can unite people, not add fuel to the fire. You need a leader who shows they can listen to everyone, not one who puts their fingers in their ears and say, "I hear nothing." Well, that's who your new Prime Minister, already labelled as two-tier Keir Starmer, is for you. So how did we get here, despite warning you for many years? Let me give you a brief history of recent events. When Manchester police were attacked and a carefully selected segment of the video was published and went viral, Muslim gangs said this in front of the Manchester police station.
Shit all up. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But tomorrow I'll tell you boys, if we don't get justice, yeah, these mother are gonna get it.
After this protest, the two accused who violently attacked the police, including breaking the nose of one female police officer, were released. And as of recording of this video, some 12 days after the event, they still have not been charged. Shortly before that, social services removed a child from the care of a Romani family in Leeds due to unfit parenting. Romani people rioted, and lo and behold, the child was returned to the Romani parents.
No way! No way! No way! No way! Everywhere! Yeah! No way! No way!
Around the same time, this was happening in Whitechapel in East London at the hands of Bangladeshi British people. In all three back-to-back scenarios, if you are a silent observer, you would see one thing. Either the British police have a two-tiered policing system, meaning one rule for minorities and another for the natives, or, let's be fair, the British police sees everyone as equal before the law but are too weak and therefore forced to succumb to rioters. If you're the British police, then take your pick, because in either case, if you're surviving on people's tax pounds, then I'm pretty sure they're going to be really, really, really disappointed and would want answers and maybe get angry. And angry they are. When the whole of Britain saw these cowardly acts by the British police, another incident took place. This time, it was the most heartbreaking incident. On the 29th of July, news broke that some non-white assailant had randomly stabbed little children, killing 3 of them and wounding many more. Anyone who hears this would get really, really angry and heartbroken at the same time. Unfortunately, when emotions were running high, people jumped to the wrong conclusions. They assumed that it would either be a migrant or a Muslim. He was neither. He was a 17-year-old boy with a Christian background born in the UK to Rwandan immigrants. Let me make this absolutely clear. If he had been a Muslim or an asylum seeker, what followed in Southport in the wake of this terrorist act can never be justified. My logic is simple. If you are protesting against people who do not respect the rule of law by rioting, then you also have no respect for the rule of law. I attended Tommy's Freedom Rally on the 27th of July. I met many decent British people of all colours and from all different cultural backgrounds who just wanted their country and her values to be respected. They are decent people And they are not rioters, and certainly not far-right thugs, as two-tier Keir would put it. Protest as much as you like, but the moment you throw a projectile or attack the police, then you're not a part of this movement, and certainly don't have my respect. I have seen Tommy. I've been in the groups, and his message is absolutely clear behind the scenes as well. Do not riot. Do not break the law. They're looking for an excuse to pin him on something. And the last thing he wants is for people who gravitate towards Tommy's movement to go out rioting. I wholeheartedly condemn what happened in Southport, Hartlepool, Sunderland, and now in Liverpool. Attacking mosques is your answer to standing up for your British values? You're playing right into their hands. I can understand the reasoning behind these clowns rioting and attacking mosques. They have learned from the events in Leeds, Manchester, and Whitechapel that you can have your way if you just start rioting, as the Muslims in Manchester and Whitechapel and the Romani people did in Leeds. However, this can never be condoned and must be condemned in the strictest possible way. As if the police's actions were not enough, our new PM, two-tier Keir, stayed silent after the riots in Leeds, Manchester and Whitechapel. But the moment protests erupted in the wake of the Southport massacre, he suddenly sprang into action and called everyone who attended the protests as far-right thugs. I can't deny that there would be some real far-right thugs, but to say that every protester was not there for the poor children and was there for hooliganism is not only lazy, but incredibly stupid as well. This was a perfect opportunity for this Prime Minister to condemn the events in Manchester, Whitechapel and Leeds, but instead he singled out this event and sweepingly labelled it a far-right conspiracy. He didn't speak to the police after the aforementioned riots, but now suddenly had an emergency meeting with police chiefs and gave them new powers to arrest the natives only. I'm sorry, but the speech he delivered 2 or 3 days ago was one of the stupidest speeches in living memory. And that's saying something because we've just had 4 years of Sleepy Joe's speeches.
And make no mistake, whether it's in Southport, London or Hartlepool, these people are showing our country exactly who they are. Mosques targeted because they're mosques. Flares thrown at the statue of Winston Churchill. A Nazi salute at the cenotaph. And so I've just held a meeting with senior police and law enforcement leaders where we've resolved to show who we are. A country that will not allow understandable fear to curdle into division and hate in our communities, and that will not permit, under any circumstances, a breakdown in law and order on our streets. Because let's be very clear about this. It's not protest. It's not legitimate. It's crime, violent disorder. I can announce today that following this meeting, we will establish a national capability across police forces to tackle violent disorder. These thugs are mobile. They move from community to community. And we must have a policing response that can do the same. Shared intelligence, wider deployment of facial recognition technology, and preventative action, criminal behaviour orders to restrict their movements before they can even board a train.
The Islamists, on the other hand, who day in and day out provoke ordinary British people, have suddenly gone into full victim mode. Look at this race-baiting former First Minister of Scotland, Hamza Youssef, who said there are too many white people in Scotland.
The Lord Justice Clerk, white. Every High Court judge, white. The Lord Advocate, white. The Solicitor General, white. The Chief Constable, white. Every Deputy Chief Constable, white. Every Assistant Chief Constable, white. The Head of the Law Society, white. The Head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every Prison Governor, white. And not just Justice. The Chief Medical Officer, white. The Chief Nursing Officer, white. The Chief Veterinary Officer, white. The Chief Social Work Advisor, white. Almost every trade union in this country headed by people who are white. In the Scottish Government, every Director General is white. Every chair of every public body is white.
Yeah, that guy didn't say anything when the news of children being killed by a non-white person emerged. But the moment riots erupted, he sprang into action and said, let's not pretend the far-right care one jot about children murdered in Southport. These thugs are scum who are exploiting the killing of children for their own bigoted ends. It's interesting, he didn't feel the need to say anything about the children, but the moment the news of mosques being attacked started circulating, he started tweeting. The far right is the boogeyman of Islamists and the loony left. Isn't it ironic that Islamists, who are far right by all standards of the definition, are now calling out these protests and riots by far right thugs? Check out some of Britain's most infamous Islamists crying about the far right when they themselves are the far right of the Muslim world. I have to end this video by re-emphasizing the need to protest within the confines of the law. The preservation of Western values that I have always spoken up for does not mean rioting. You are not going to achieve anything by attacking the police or breaking the law. Yes, you are angry, and the only solution to fixing your country is to protest peacefully, force your government to listen to you, and if they don't, then wait for the next elections. I think two-tier Keir could have connected with a sizable community that is angry and frustrated over uncontrolled migration and the Islamization of Britain. But he did what the left has been doing for the last 20 years, going for the natives but turning a blind eye to Islamists. Do not break the law. You will not get anything that way.